Hey community, in today's episode, artist Melvin Crispell III sits down with Loop Gospel director Otto Price to talk about his musical background, recording his upcoming live album, and blurring the lines between gospel music and contemporary Christian music. Enjoy.
Hey guys, this is Otto again with another great installment with Conversations with Friends, and I'm really pleased and excited to say I have a new partner and a brother in arms and another crazy great musician I get to introduce you guys to, and really not even introduce, but just highlight. So Melvin Crispell III, I like to introduce, but also say, man, welcome to the time today.
What's going on, Otto? Thank you so much for having me here. So excited to be here.
Man, I'm excited too. First of all, I have a 3 too. So my son is Otto III. We call him OP3. Did you ever go by a nickname at all? Or
I did. My nickname was Trey, for Trace. So I think that's kind of what stuck when I was a baby.
Trey.
Yep.
We almost went with Trey, but then we realized, first of all, a couple things. So I'm 6'1", but Otto the third is 6'3". So he used to be called Little Otto until he was about 9th grade. He's like dunking over me. And so
oh my God.
He was more medium, a large
yeah.
Otto. Now he's grown man Otto.
Yeah.
Well, man, first of all, thank you so much for the time. I know that you're taking out a huge time of your day. I want to talk a little bit about, we'll talk about it more in depth, but you're about to do a record. And so thank you for taking time out to be with us and just really
Absolutely.
Talk about that. So this is your first live recording?
My very first live recording. And I am so nervous, but I'm really, really excited. I think it's going to be very special. Yeah.
Who's working on the record with you?
So my head music producer is Jamel Kimbrough. He's worked with many artists, but mainly I know him from working with Todd Delaney. An incredible genius. He's absolutely amazing. He's been working with me closely with this. He's really made me, feel comfortable alongside him, right under him, my MD for the band. His name is Devon Goodwin. Really like a family member of mine. He's like my big cousin. I've known him since I was like 9, 10. But, to have, that piece of family, so far down the road, helping me with my first live, it means so much. And he's absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. Sharon Ann is vocal producing. She is from another planet. She's really amazing. She's really been getting things together. So I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody to see the work that is being put into this. And I know God is going to do something special. Yeah.
Okay. So by trade, I'm a music producer. That's kind of my background. So I'm okay to get a little geeky. So when you say the work, for how long have you guys been working on it? Was it a songwriting camp you started with? And then how did the whole process start for the record?
Well, no. So we kind of put out a fishnet and was like, hey, I'm about to start working on, a new record, just to different, artists and different people that I know, write. If you have any like song submissions, send them. Let's take a listen. We'd love to see what's happening. So we got, a couple that way. My label, I'm part of RCA Inspiration. So my label did say, hey, you've been writing anything? You have anything that you been jotting down? Like, let us know. So basically, we kind of had like a soft list of songs. And then what I did was I got to, go around the country and meet a few different producers just to see how the chemistry was, to see, whatever we come up with, like, is that the direction I kind of want to go in for this recording? So long story short, it came down to Jamel Kimbrough. And, I think, he was amazing. I think his work ethic and his process, really, really spoke to me about creating that stuff and getting it done. The songs changed, from there. We did, we added some covers in there, and I got to, write some stuff. And so it all kind of came together. Like God always, I don't know what it is with me, but God always has a way where I look around and there's pieces everywhere, and then sooner or later the pieces just start gelling together. And that's really how it's been so far.
That's awesome. So kind of a collection of songs, you kind of pull that together. And
yep.
Do you have a title yet, or are you kind of figuring out what the record's going to be called on the back end?
So what's crazy is God, I'm figuring out on the back end right now. God hasn't really given me exactly what he wants me to call it per se. I just know I've been tossing around a few things, been praying about a few things, but I'm just really trying to hone on exactly what he wants me to title it. I know the message, for the album, I've been thinking about that, but there's so many different stories to be told that night. So it's kind of hard to just pick one and say, hey, this is this. I wish I could title it everything, all the songs, but so we're still praying about that one.
And where were you guys recording?
In Dallas, Texas. Well, Garland, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas, at Spring Creek Church.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about that in more detail, but is it open to the public, or is it going to be kind of a closed recording?
So yes, well, there were tickets available. It was free, completely free, but you had to RSVP. But thank God it is completely sold out as of the other day. So I thank you, all of you, whoever's watching this, that RSVP'd on time. God bless you.
Yeah, take that. I love that. So that's awesome, man. So now you guys are in pre-production phase, kind of getting the songs kind of fine-tuned and doing like demos, make sure everybody's got their parts, and so you're locked and loaded that night.
Yep, absolutely. Getting really like a pre-tech week this week, and then next week we have like a big tech week before the recording. So,
well, let me ask you this, man. Everybody's story is different. Like, love music. I was never a musician growing up, although I've done a lot of music, professionally as an adult. But I grew up being more athletic. Were there other interests you had, growing up? Was music always your thing?
Music was always my thing. I've been singing since the age of like around 2. I started singing at 2. I sang like in public for the first time when I was 3. So it's always been a thing of mine. I've always wanted to be a singer, but there were also other interests for me. I wanted to be a chef. Like I really wanted to be a chef. And I wanted to be a photographer. But kind of just went another way.
So what were your influences growing up as a musician? What was the young Melvin listening to? Who were your influences?
So I was very sheltered as a kid, which I'm grateful for now. I hated it when I was a kid, but I'm really grateful for it now. So I wasn't really allowed to venture off too much into music, like secular music and, things like that. But I was a big PJ Morton fan when I was a kid, heavy PJ Morton fan. I would listen to Jay Moss all the time, trying to copy all of his runs and do all this extra stuff. And also, I was exposed to a lot of other genres of music as far as jazz is concerned. So like Harry Connick Jr. was like Christmas time. That was like all throughout the house, the whole season. And Ella Fitzgerald, same with her, so really that jazz influence kind of stuck with me, which I really appreciate because I love it. Just being able to hear, being able to pick out different textures and different voices and, different vibes, different songs, like how can we, take this and put it with this, to make something new. I think that was how I grew up, being able to hear all of that and kind of learn from it. So that's really, me growing up as a kid. That's really like what I listen to.
Yeah. Well, you must have been, our families must have been connected on some type of musical ESP, because I literally grew up listening to, or my kids grew up rather, listening to a lot of Harry Connick Jr. So When My Heart Finds Christmas.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Harry for the Holidays, all that stuff. And so mine was because my dad was, we were military, so we traveled a lot, but most of my dad's family was like from Mississippi, Nolens area, so Metairie and all that kind of stuff. And so I grew up listening, so I have a huge love. When I grew up as a kid listening to Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock and so a lot of those deeper, kind of jazz things. So that explains a lot, especially because I hear your voice and you have such a great, I love what you said about Ella. Ella had that soul to her, but she had the finesse and I hear that in a lot of your your vocals. So you feel
Wow.
like you think the jazz. It feels like the jazz side influenced some of your gospel side as well.
Yes, absolutely. So my mom was she was trained. She went to Nyack College of New York. So she was an opera singer as well. So she
Oh, so
also
your
had
mom was
that
an opera
jazz.
singer. Your mom was
Yeah,
an opera singer.
she did a
Okay.
lot of opera. While I was a kid, still living in New York. Um, and having that jazz influence, I even got to see how she watching her, how she kind of merged that jazz finesse with kind of the opera finesse and make something new. Like she would do that a lot whenever she would go out and minister, and it just, I don't know, it was just so captivating. And so you have that side of things, plus my dad with the gospel side, being a organist and a songwriter, writing choir music, and even merging that with what my mom did. They would do a lot of like duo things together in ministry and stuff like that. So growing up around that, it really like influenced me, and I learned so much, like how to create something new from what you hear, how to take different styles, different genres, and like merge them together. Yeah.
I love that. And I used to tell people a lot of times that music is just a collision. It's just,
Yep.
that's really what music is. So if you hear anything new, what's old is new again. So
Yep.
you pick any
Absolutely.
art. I'm trying to think, you pick an artist today. Harry Styles is basically an Elton John. I mean, so it's just
Oh yeah.
there's something like, oh, John Mayer. It's like Stevie Ray Vaughan meets a little bit of Eric Clapton. So you can hear these type of things. Pharrell is the only one that I think comes from another planet, but that's another conversation. But,
yeah.
Pharrell is not human. But so you talk about growing up in New York. So you're a New Yorker.
Yes, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I would say born and raised. I moved to Charlotte when I was about 8. So I still have a good memory of life in Brooklyn growing up. But really here is like what raised me. Charlotte is what really raised me.
So what brought you to Charlotte?
So my parents, really my dad, got an offer for the church I go to now to be the minister of music. And so, we kind of came down to visit a few times to meet with my pastor now. And somehow or another, we moved. We just, as a family, the three of us, just moved down south. We said goodbye to our family. We'll see y'all later. And we started a new chapter here. And I've been here ever since.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you moved down, were you obviously in music? Did you get involved a lot with the church playing a lot, or did you kind of slow roll
it? Not yeah. I slow rolled it. I was still young, so maybe like 2 or 3 years after moving here, my dad let me join the youth choir and stuff like that. And eventually, I was a part of the youth choir for the most part. For a while. In my teenage years, I kind of they didn't really want me getting the full effect of the adult praise and worship team and the adult choir. I did sing with the adult choir a couple times, but really, what I did mostly was my dad started a choir a couple years after we got here, and I would sing with his choir a lot, as well as my mom's group. She had a group up in New York, but of course, moving down to Charlotte, she had to find new people. So that came together, and I would sing with them sometimes. So I was a little kid, but it really helped me learn. Like it helped me prepare though for what life, as a singer and a musician could really, be like. So
it sounds like your parents. You mentioned Harry Connick and all these other artists, but it sounds like your parents had a huge impact on your musicality. Can you speak to that?
Huge impact. Like I said, I started singing at 2, but it was really because of traveling with them so much to rehearsals, and so I think one of the first times I started singing was there was a song that my dad wrote for. My dad wrote for this group that had a song. I think the words were "Stone Rolled Away." Something I can't remember, but I would just sing that all day. And it was like, they kind of noticed like, wow, like you really really want to sing. So they kind of started pushing me, really not pushing me. I didn't really have lessons from them, especially not from my dad. My dad was one of those, I'm not going to teach you. If you really want it, you'll go after it. And then when you go after it, I see you going after it, I'll help you from there. But my mom, she would help me with stuff here and there. But they were really big influences. Being able to travel with them, watch them teach people, watch them, transform worship teams at different churches. With just the two of them was incredible. I even lived in Japan with them for about 3 months. It was a school semester when I was little. And we got to teach, I even got to teach like kids my age at the time, how to sing, how we sing in America, which was like really cool. Being able to watch them do that was very inspirational. So, yeah.
That's incredible, man. So, and I can understand as a parent, I can understand how you want to protect your kids from the I call it not the business, but the busy mess of music.
Yes. And I never understood it. I always hated it. Like, even with doing Sunday best, my parents they never wanted me to do it. Like I said, I told them I wanted to do it. They never wanted me to do it. And I hated it then, didn't understand it then. But now, even right before I did it, I understood like why, because there's just so much that goes on. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned like even Sunday best, which is how America got to know who Trey was. And so as doing that, was that something that you felt like, man, I really want to do this because it's the next process of my growth as an artist, as a musician? You feel like that was the avenue going on Sunday best?
Nope. I actually said no 3 times to doing Sunday best. I was asked, I saw that it was, coming back after the hiatus. And I, just kept scrolling like, okay, cool. Finally got a call and say, hey, Sunday best is coming back. I really think you should like audition. Like you should try it. I'm like, I'm good. Thank you. So I got another call like a week later asking the same thing. Are you sure you don't want to do that? No, I don't want to do it. And then the same thing happened again. And then after that one, family members said, what have you got to lose than to at least try? Like, you never know. Even if you don't make it past the audition process, you never know what doors are going to open. Like, you never know who's going to see you and say, hey, he might not make it here, but let's do something for him here. And I'm like, I get it, but okay. If this all goes up in flames, I blame you. But when I did it, God literally started pulling all the pieces. Like I said before, He started pulling all the pieces together, and I still can't believe it sometimes. I cannot believe it.
Well, part of your story, man, I want to speak a little bit into that. Part of your story is, just even the joy and how you kind of you navigate a lot of things. And part of that story is, you talk a lot about your parents and, your dad in particular, him being so, like you said, just wanting to make sure you wanted this for yourself. But at that time, you'd already lost your father. And so what was that like? First of all, before we talk about what that was like to do the show, what was it like you were like 16 when you lost your dad?
I was 16. Yep.
16. I mean, losing someone at 16 is major or any time in life. But how was that as a process? Because he was not just your father, he was a music minister. He was a mentor. What was that season like for you?
Of course, it was a very tough season. I would call it heartbreaking. I would call it confusing. I would call it a lot of things. But it's like, like, Lord, why did it have to be this way? I had so many questions for God, like why would you, bring us down here and have everything in a sense go left? It's just like, it's so many questions. It's very hard. Kind of felt lost for a while. depressed for a while, even at a young age, and having to grow up really fast, even before he passed, because my mom was dealing with cancer since 2009. He died in 14. So we had already been struggling with that, trying to, make sure she was okay. My parents were dealing with, other issues and stuff like that. So I just had to grow up fast. I, still was able to be a kid. That's what my mom and my dad really wanted for me to, through all that was going on, just to remain a kid and be a kid. But, as an only child, it was hard, like to, try to be a kid. But I know my parents are going through this, that, third. It's like, you just want to do everything you can to, be their son. That's really what it was. That was my mom and he was my dad at the end of the day. I mean, that was my mom and he was my dad at the end of the day. It's just, that was us. It was the three of us. So, that season was really tough, and losing my mom a year and a half later was no easier. Like, it was just even more confusing. Like, Lord, having faith in, the way my mom had faith. She was very strong, very strong individual. Taught me so many lessons just through her battle with cancer, about faith, about, strength, about trusting God. And so when she passed, it was like, Lord, make it make sense for me. Like, I don't get it, but God was like, he spoke to me one day and was like, do you trust me? And from that point on, I had to pick myself up. I had to sing myself and pray myself out of certain spaces, because there were a lot of dark spaces. I can even admit that, because it happens. Losing a parent is like losing a piece of yourself, really. And so losing two is like losing two pieces of yourself. It's like, it feels like pieces of you are just drifting away. Even though you have people around you that care about you, that make sure you're good, you still feel alone. You feel like there's no, sometimes there's nobody there. But God, it's like, at the end of the day, do you trust me? I'm here. Like, I want you to be aware of my presence. I'm here. I'm not going to put more on you than you can handle. Like, there's a reason for all of this. And so I had to start really just getting up and moving forward. Certain decisions in moving forward, I kind of jumped the gun, went a little too fast. Like, for example, going to college. I went to college a month after my mom passed. The worst decision I could have ever made in my life, but I didn't realize it until a year and a half later, because, that stuff sits on you for time. So it's really a big thing of how much do you trust God with your life, with the things that go on in your life. Because at the end of the day, it's his story that we're a part of. And we have to remember that. So I chose to trust God. I chose to use my gifts, the gifts that he gave me, the knowledge that he gave me of music and of my family's legacy, to move forward, to propel myself. It doesn't have to end here. That's just the premise of it, because if God before me, who else can be against me?
Wow.
I had to just dwell on those things. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. It sounds like, well, first, thank you for sharing that. I mean, I love what you said, that, when you lose someone, lose a parent, a loved one, a piece of you is gone, and it's never, even though you have community, it's never really truly replaced. It's never that there's a hole that's vacant there. But it sounds like you were able to pull yourself up, and what do you feel like that strength has come through? Is it through friendships, music? What's helped you kind of move forward, especially doing something that was so personified with literally your name and your family's name, music?
Yeah, music was definitely a big part of it. Music lives in me, and so being able to express that, it just brought me out of a lot of places. It was hard listening to my parents' music at first, but there came a point where I had to just sit there and listen to it and let my emotions flow, let it flow. And it really helped me and healed me in certain areas. Because even though they're gone, they're still a part of me. And not only music, even though, you feel alone with community, at the end of the day, God still sends community. And so my church family, my pastor, my friends, it was just really them holding me up. They would hold me up in a lot of different areas. A lot of people would just make sure I'm good. If I needed to eat, if I needed, clothes, if I needed whatever I needed, like God always sent somebody. And it was also another reminder of God saying, do you trust me? Like I will take care of you through it all, so that really was a major help of pulling me up. I couldn't do it by myself.
I love that, man. And I love the way that, because you can hear it in your music. And thank you for sharing that, because it feels like all those, why I say thank you is because sometimes the pain you go through really informs like to get a really good diamond, it has to be, there's a crushing, not a crushing, but it goes through, there's a lot of heat, and there's a lot of, it's being molded in that, in that process to get a real good diamond. And sometimes it takes time to do that. You can't manufacture something quickly. And I love that you talk about it's the community that helped that. It's the music side and just being authentic, going, hey, even hearing songs that my parents did was hard because it poked a wound that was still there. Yeah. And so you went to college, heard it's Benedict College, and it's Benedict College. Is that the name of it?
Benedict College. I didn't finish. I went for 2 years. But like I said, the reason I dropped out.
I didn't either. You'll be right. I didn't either.
Yeah. But the reason I dropped out was because, trying to be strong for my family, for the rest of my family, and, trying to make my parents proud. And I know college was a big thing that me and my mom would work on together. Like, hey, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Like, we would have so many conversations. So I just decided, to step out on faith and go. But after 2 years, that really, that pain, that wound, like really wasn't, of course, not at all healed. So it caught up with me. And I really just had to take a step back. And when I took that step back, this is kind of the route that God kind of took me on. So, yeah.
So when you're at Benedict, were you involved in music there, or?
Yes. So I got a scholarship to go there, being a part of the Benedict Gospel Choir. And so I went there, started with that, with Daryl Izzard, who was the VP of Student Affairs and the choir director at that time. And it was really great. A lot of my friends wound up being there. A lot of people don't know this. So Chandler Moore.
Chandler Moore. Never heard of Chandler Moore. If only there was a gyra that could tell me about who a Chandler Moore was.
Right. But he was there. He went to college. We were there together. We had a few math classes together, a few different things together. Worship nights we did there. His sister also went. A lot of people don't know that. JJ Harrison, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his son went as well. John P. Key's son went there as well. And Jalen Robinson, who is the worship leader at Relentless in Greenville, South Carolina, he was there as well. So we all were there. We all had our moments, our time, our fun together, just, being college kids and being Christian college kids. So, it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. So Christian college kids, you're not going, your partying is going out to the local Checkers or the, what's that place
called?
Local
cookout. We go to local cookout.
You got to go to cookout because it's open till 2 a.m. in the morning. And if you pay for $1 extra, you get a shake instead of a drink.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We go to cookout. We would go to different jam sessions, worship nights. We all had our different things going on.
Yeah. And if you're really feeling particularly celebratory, you get cheer wine. So
yeah, there you go.
So you did that. Obviously, we know Chandler. We know obviously what you did. These guys. And then you did some work with Mav City too. It feels like if you're young, cool, and creative, it's the law that you have to be part of Maverick City.
That is hilarious. I feel, that way, it does seem like that. The creatives, the swag is definitely all there. Yeah. I think being a part of Maverick City, I was kind of the little weird piece that, tagged along, which I'm totally fine with. But I was, super honored to be a part of Maverick City. Anytime I get a call to say, hey, Maverick City wants to collab, do something, I'm like super geek, super excited, just waiting to hear. Send me the files. Let me know what I got to do. However I can serve, just let me know. But yeah, being a part of that whole situation is amazing.
Well, even just as we're talking through, especially how you and I have been talking about music and just the diversity of what informs your music. I mean, we're talking about from opera to B3 gospel music. I mean, and then jazz, everything in between. And I feel like that's what this new emergence of worship leaders are doing. They're kind of taking those lines delineations that used to be like, no, you're gospel, no, you're CCM, no, you're in these buckets. And they're kind of taking the buckets and literally turning on their head and going, it's going to, whatever comes out, comes out. Do you feel like you learned, especially going in a more of a gospel setting, do you feel like you learned, what things have you learned even in those experiences, whether it's Mav City or any other multicultural space that's kind of been something that you want to highlight for multicultural worship?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always been one to want to merge different genres, different fields, because I've always said that I feel like we as the body of Christ need to do more together. I understand the tradition of the separation of the genres, Christian, gospel. I get it, but in this day and age, in this time, it's time out. It's like time out for that. Like I think that is over. And we have to start crossing the lines, doing more together, because there's so many more souls that we have to go after. And it's not going to come through you stay in your lane and you stay in your lane. No, we have to merge our people together. We have to bring our people together. Like if we have a concert, and I'll just say this, if we have a quartet concert with all the Black people and we have a CCM concert with all the white people, we need to do it together and bring all the people together so that we can worship together. We can find love amongst each other. Like this is, and even when it comes to music, we have to stop putting genres. I mean, I get it because there's different styles. We can still put genres on it, but it's kingdom music at the end of the day. Who are we doing this for? Why are we doing this? If it's CCM, if it's gospel, if it's quartet, if it's Christian jazz, what is this? What is the sole focus of what we're doing? Is it Jesus? Is it God? Is it the kingdom? Or is it the money? Is it the ratings? Is it like the numbers? What is it for? So in my career for the rest of my life, I never wanted to. I want the focus to be Jesus at the end of the day, and all of his people, whatever that looks like, whatever that means. That's what I want the focus to be. So working with Maverick City, it gave me an even better perspective on I'm me, who's not like them, going into a space to be me. But, and sometimes I would be nervous, but, God spoke to me one time. I believe it was Tribal Nights, when I did Tribal Nights in Atlanta. God spoke to me and said, you're exactly where I want you to be. And it just let me know that I can be me in a different space and worship with all of these people from different backgrounds. It was so beautiful. That's why every time I get a call, I'm super excited, because I get to worship with people that don't look like me, that don't sound like me, and just bring both of our beauties together. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's a beautiful thing to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said before you were wanting to be not just a musician, but a chef, but I think you'd appreciate this chef analogy. If there isn't somebody who figured out, what, chocolate and peanut butter might be great together, then we would not have a Reese's.
Yeah, I was about to say, we might be onto something there. Yep.
So if we're open to new flavors, and we might have something beautiful. And I love what you did. Even just showing that in how you did the blessing. I love, a really good song. And we talked about this before, but it's like sometimes songs, you just want really good songs. Israel's a good friend of mine. I would tell him what I appreciate about his songs is that Israel would write songs in such a way that presented really good cage-free eggs. It's really good eggs. So you could make it, if you wanted to, it could be huevos rancheros, or it can be a Greek omelet, or it could be a farmer's omelet, or you can just put, like maybe Trey and I want to put a little hot sauce on it.
I'll tell you, and it'll still be eggs at the end of the day.
It'll still be eggs. And so I appreciate that, what you're saying. I think it's up to us, especially as creatives, to be intentionally cross-pollinating, intentionally merging those lines and crossing those lines, and not being so segmented and musically segregated. And so I really appreciate what you did with kind of going back to this on just one more question, because I love what you did with Sunday Best. What do you feel like the legacy of that, or that has shown you about? Has it do you still take some of those, because it's a competition show, were there things you take from that and still use throughout your career, or was that a seasonal thing?
Well, no, I don't like competition when it comes to gospel. When it comes to just the gospel, I don't really like competition. We are all here. Let's be anointed. How about that? Let's all strive for the anointing and just getting to God's people. But I get it. It's a show. It's a competition show. So I went with the mindset, okay. So, I know how I feel, but at the end of the day, it's a competition. So you got to try to be on your A game, scope out the competition, do this and the third. But one thing that Kirk Franklin told me, and that stuck with me to this day, that I still try to do, is, the show tries to bring forth and cultivate artists, which I really never was. I've always, just been a minister. I like to minister to people. So he was like, being able to merge artistry and ministry is very key. And so from that, I've been trying to take that to say, okay, God, how do I do what you want me to do? Stay in your flow, however you want me to do it, but still be an artist in this world. So that's one thing that I've been, striving for and, going after. And it still takes some work. I'm still working at it. But it is getting better. I think I'm getting better at it. Still got a long ways to go, but y'all pray for me.
Yeah. Well, I love that, what you said, man. It reminds me of an old quote by Oscar Wilde where he says, "Be you, period. Everyone else is taken." And so,
right.
And so I love that. And I love the idea of going, okay, is it, when people come to see a Melvin Crispell III concert, is it going to be ministry, or is it going to be a great performance? And the answer should be yes. Not just yes to both. It's going to be great. You're going to get a great performance. You're going to get great entertainment. You're going to get great ministry moments. But to compartmentalize those to not let you be you. So I just want to just say, man, thank you for this. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being authentic. Thank you for even just being vulnerable and sharing just life-changing moments, but showing that. And I love your heart, what you said. It definitely impacted you, but it didn't define your future. It didn't define all that God has for you. So excited for this, excited to see your music not only just go up the charts, but I want to see songs on the CCLI Top 100 with Melvin's
yes, sir.
alongside Chandler and all those other guys.
Yes, we're going for it.
And so, man, first of all, just remind me again the date. I know it's sold out, but the date of the recording is in a couple of weeks, you said?
Yes, it's October 15th, Saturday, October 15th at 6 p.m. in Garland, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas.
So even though you see this, you probably can't go, but just be praying for him on that night. That's a great performance. And then once that's done, obviously, is there a date when it should be released?
I don't want to say a date because I'm not too sure. but I can
or
say,
window.
yeah, I was going to say we're looking at probably spring. We're looking at spring, I think. So
we got new music in spring. Anything else before we let you go? Anything else you're excited about for the next 12 months that we should be looking on the horizon for?
No, I'm just really listen. When I tell you I'm on P's and Q's about this recording, I don't want it to be over, but I'm so ready for it to be over because so my nerves can just be released. But no, y'all, just everybody, if you see this, just keep me in prayer, not just for this recording, but for the future. Thank you, for just being people of God and just loving gospel music, Christian music, kingdom music, and just be safe and love y'all. Love all of y'all.
Love it. Follow you on Instagram, on Twitter.
Yes, please follow me on Instagram. Yes, at the third Melvin Crispell on Instagram, and on Facebook at Melvin Crispell III, and on TikTok at
Of course.
at Melvin Crispell III, all spelled out on TikTok. My Twitter's down. We're working on that, so we'll be back on the Twitter.
And then the new one is called MySpace. I think it's going to take off. I'm joking.
It's going to do great things.
It's going to do great things. Said no one ever. Well, Melvin, thanks so much for the time, bro. Really appreciate it. The big takeaway is we got a record we're praying for on October 15th, and then 2023 is the year. 2023 is the year of Trey. So we're excited.
That's right. The year of Trey. I love it.
We're excited for this new record to come out, man, and we're so thankful for your time today. And keep doing your thing, and we appreciate you. Love you, bro.
Love you, bro. Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. Couldn't do what we do without you. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube. Stay tuned. We got a bunch more stuff coming. Appreciate you guys. See ya.